starting section 5.3, rotations. So we've done translations, we've done reflections, and now we're doing rotations. Now, hopefully with the video that you just watched, you can see that a rotation, it depends on where the fixed point is, where the fixed point of rotation is. Okay. So you've already talked about these terms, you already have the definitions. I'm going to actually mostly just tell you where they are and what they mean. Okay, so a rotation is a turn. You turn something. You don't change its size, you don't change its shape. The only thing you change is its position, and you change it by turning it. The center of rotation is the fixed point. For instance, let's say I have a flag, and this flag is attached to the pole, and I'm turning the pole. I'm turning it here. Where my hands are, that's the fixed point of rotation. Whereas if I have the actual flag in my hand, okay, let me, okay, so this ruler. If this is my fixed point of rotation, then the ruler is going to turn right there. Okay, it's going to look like this. Now, what if this was my fixed point of rotation? Now it's going to turn like this. Notice the difference depending on where your point of rotation is. So your point of rotation, like I was explaining, if I had a flag attached to this end, and say there's a flag down there, and this is my fixed point of rotation, notice that flag would be at the end. Sorry, it's hard to turn this around. It would be at the end turning. But if I had the actual flag holding it, it would be here, and the flag would be turning like here. So you have to keep in mind your center of rotation. Now, for us, I'm going to do your center of rotation the same on everything, and it's going to be about the origin. It's going to be around the origin. So the origin is always going to be your center of rotation. Okay? And then this. Okay. All right, so if on your picture over there on student notes, that point P, that's your center of rotation. So where you see a arrow pointing to it, you need to label the point P your center of rotation. And then you have your angle of rotation, like how many degrees can you turn it? You can turn it all the way from 0 degrees, which is just standing still. You can turn it all the way over to 360 degrees, which is a full turn, a full circle. So if you, do the flags, if you do a full circle, that's 360 degrees. So if you are in band and you're one of the flag throwers or you're a baton thrower, you actually use this every time there's a parade or every time you practice. And then this right here, where it's pointing to that angle 40 degrees, that's the angle of rotation. So if you would please label that angle of rotation. Now, with us in class, we are only going to talk about certain angles and only a certain center of rotation. The center, like I mentioned, is going to be the origin, and the angles of rotation we're going to do are 90, 180, 270, 360, and then we're going to go clockwise and counterclockwise. Right now, I think we're just going to deal with counterclockwise.
Was there like a photo that more visual to help us with this?
I can check to see if there's one.
Okay, because to me it's going to be really confusing.
All right, so first thing, there are rules to help you find your new coordinates, and you'll notice you'll need to fill in the blank with the rules. I have most of it on there, but you'll need to fill in the rest. It says when a point AB is rotated counterclockwise about the origin, the following are true. So this is only for counterclockwise. Only for counterclockwise. For a rotation of 90 degrees, AB becomes opposite of B, comma A. So opposite of B, comma A. So negative B, comma A. Now, remember how in 5.2 I had you put these in your own words to make it easier on you to know what to do? Like we would say, flip your coordinates and change the sign of a boat. Or we would just say, change the sign of X or change the sign of Y. What did they do here?
They switched them and made your B negative.
But it's not always going to be negative. What if it's already negative?
You switch the sign.
You switch the sign to a positive. Okay, so for in your own words, for number one, what you need to say is flip your x and y coordinates and change the sign of your y coordinate. And it's your original y coordinate. Okay, so over there where it says in your own words, number one, you're going to put flip the x and y coordinates and change the sign of y. Flip your coordinates and change the sign of the y coordinate. Okay? Alright, that's for 90 degrees rotation. For a rotation of 180 degrees, AB becomes opposite of A, opposite of B. Opposite of A, opposite of B. So, negative A, comma, negative B for 180 degrees. What does that mean to do in your own words? Yeah, just change the sign of both, your x and your y. So for in your own words, you're going to change the signs of x and y. You don't flip anything, you just change both signs. And then the last one. For a rotation of 270 degrees, AB becomes B, comma, opposite of A. B, comma, opposite of A. B, comma, opposite of A. Okay. What does that mean to do in your own words?
Flip x and y and change the sign of the x coordinate.
Perfect. Flip your x and y coordinates and change the sign of x. Good question. I would like, me personally would use x and y. This is just what they use. I think I just went with what the book uses. I think next year when I do this, I think I may actually change them to x and y. Because I think it would make more sense if we did that. All right. Before I go on to doing an actual example, what questions do you have for me so far?
We're not going to do 360, or is that like?
360, you go back into your original position.
Okay.
So 360 would just be AB. All right, teacher model. So this is the one I do on my own, and you just copy down, pay attention as I go. It says graph quadrilateral RSTU with vertices RST and U. Then rotate the quadrilateral 270 degrees about the origin. So first thing you always want to do is graph your pre-image. Okay. All right, so R is 3, 1. They're both positive, so that means go to the right 3 and up 1. And guys, if it helps you on graphing these ordered pairs, look at them like they're vectors. Okay. So positive 3 means go to the right. Positive 1 means go up. And but you always start from the origin. 5, 1, you go to the right 5 and up 1. T is 5, negative 3, so you go to the right 5 and down 3. And U is 2, negative 1, so go to the right 2 and down 1. And draw your quadrilateral. Okay. Now I need to go back and look at the rules for 270 degrees about the origin. (270 degrees is B, comma, negative A. Okay, so I'm going to write that up here, B, comma, opposite of A. So what this tells me is I need to change the sign of X and I need to flip them. So it's up to you what you want to do first. You can either flip them first, then change the sign, or you can go through here and change the signs first and then flip them. Just so I don't get confused, I'm going to change the sign of X first. So this positive 3 becomes a negative 3. So I'm just going to like actually go on there and change that to a negative 3. On S, on the 5, I'm going to change that to a negative 5. On T, I'm going to change that to a negative 5. And on U, I'm going to change that to a negative 2. Now, to get my coordinates, now I need to flip them. And I just keep them like they are now that I've changed it. So R prime becomes 1, negative 3. S prime becomes 1, negative 5. Sorry. T prime becomes negative 3, negative 5. I promise I'm writing these letters, they're just not coming up. And U prime is negative 1, negative 2. Alright, so it looks like I'll have to draw my original one. It was 3, 1, 5, 1, 5, negative 3, and 2, negative 1. Hey now, 1, negative 3 is to the right 1, down 3. That's R prime. S prime is 1, negative 5. T prime is negative 3, negative 5. And U prime is negative 1, negative 2. And there's my rotation. Okay. So pretty much what happened was, I have this quadrilateral attached to a figure from the origin, and I turned it 270 degrees. All right. What questions do you have for me on rotations? So as you can see, it's just using your rules just like we did on the reflections. All right, once you get that done, dry, you can get your stuff ready, put your notes in the pocket of your binder. We will finish that tomorrow. Make sure you bring your student journal with you tomorrow, because we're going to be working out of that after we're finished with our notes. Okay? And you're good to put up your calculators and get your phones.